Admiral Elena Santos stood at the viewport of the Earth Defense Force flagship, watching the approaching Council vessels shimmer against the backdrop of stars. At 53, she had spent 3 decades preparing humanity for this moment, though not quite in the way she had hoped. They're broadcasting the quarantine order on all frequencies, Admiral Lieutenant Chen reported from his communications station. They're demanding immediate compliance and planetary lockdown. Santos allowed herself a small smile. The Council's arrogance was exactly what Earth's intelligence had predicted. After rejecting humanity's petition for membership and voting for quarantine, they expected simple compliance from the primitive species they had just diplomatically insulted. "How many ships in their enforcement fleet, tactical?" she asked. 47 vessels, Admiral. 1 from each Council race. Their energy signatures suggest mostly ceremonial weapons loadouts. They weren't expecting resistance. Of course they weren't. The Council saw Earth as a barely spacefaring civilization that had stumbled onto FTL travel too quickly for their comfort. Their rejection had made that clear enough. Humans were too aggressive, too unpredictable, too innovative for their development stage. The Council preferred new civilizations to follow their carefully predetermined path to the stars. "Open a channel to the Council fleet," Santos ordered. "Let's give them one chance to reconsider." The main view screen flickered to life, showing the stern face of Council Fleet Commander Xerax. The Centaurian's crystalline features sparkled with barely concealed disdain. "This is a lawful quarantine order, human. Your presence in Council space has been deemed destabilizing. Return to your solar system and prepare for isolation protocols." Santos straightened her uniform. "Commander Xerax, this is Admiral Elena Santos of the Earth Defense Force. We reject the Council's quarantine order as illegitimate and discriminatory. We request you withdraw your fleet immediately." Xerax's crystalline features hardened. "You have no standing to reject Council orders. Your primitive species barely understands." "Commander," Santos interrupted, "I don't think you understand. This isn't a petition or a request for permission. This is a courtesy warning. Earth will not be quarantined. Withdraw your fleet." Laughter echoed from several of the alien bridges also connected to the call. Santos had expected that too. Even now, they couldn't see past their prejudices. "And how exactly do you plan to prevent the quarantine, Admiral?" Xerax asked, amused. "Your species has barely mastered basic space combat. Our fleet represents the combined might of 47 advanced civilizations." "Does it?" Santos asked mildly. "Because our scans show largely ceremonial weapons, you brought a parade fleet to enforce a quarantine. This suggests either shocking incompetence," she paused meaningfully, "or that some Council members might not fully support this action." The subtle shift in Xerax's expression told her she'd struck a nerve. Earth's intelligence services had detected significant disagreement among Council races about the quarantine vote, though it had been carefully hidden from public view. "You have 1 hour to begin compliance with the quarantine order," Xerax said stiffly. "Any resistance will be met with appropriate force." The connection cut. Santos turned to her bridge crew. "Signal all ships. Begin Operation Revelation." Throughout the solar system, sensors detected movement. From behind Mars, a squadron of Earth's newest destroyers emerged from their hiding spots in the planet's magnetic field. Near Venus, stealth cruisers shimmered into visibility, their metamaterial hulls dropping their light-bending camouflage. And from the asteroid belt, the first of Earth's true surprises appeared. Massive automated drone carriers, each containing hundreds of combat units. "Admiral," Tactical reported with satisfaction, "the Council fleet is detecting our ships. Their energy signatures show they're powering up weapons. They seem confused by our numbers." "They thought we'd be an easy show of force," Santos said. "Time to show them why making assumptions about humanity is dangerous. All ships, battle stations. Let's teach the Council why Earth doesn't accept quarantine orders." The next few hours would reshape galactic politics forever. But first, humanity would have to demonstrate why the Council's dismissive attitude had been their greatest mistake. As Santos watched her fleet move into position, she felt a fierce pride. The Council had rejected humanity for being too aggressive, too innovative, too unpredictable. They were about to learn exactly why those traits had helped humanity survive and thrive. All ships, combat formation Delta, Santos ordered. Let's show them what primitive humans can do. Impossible, Commander Xerax whispered, watching the tactical display as hundreds of human vessels emerged from hiding. His crystalline form flickered with agitation. Their technological level. The reports. Sir, his sensor officer called out. Detecting massive energy signature from Jupiter's orbit. Something big is coming through their FTL corridor. The Council fleet watched in growing alarm as space itself seemed to bend and twist. A massive shape emerged from the distortion. A vessel that dwarfed anything in the Council enforcement fleet. Its hull gleamed with a dark, metallic sheen that seemed to drink in light itself. On the bridge of the TSF Prometheus, Captain Sarah Chen felt a surge of pride. After 5 years of secrecy, humanity's greatest achievement was finally revealed. The ship represented every breakthrough, every innovation that humanity had carefully kept hidden from Council observers. Status report, she ordered, her voice steady despite the historical magnitude of the moment. All systems nominal, Captain, her XO, Commander James Rodriguez, reported. Quantum shields at full power. Graviton drive stable. Weaponry online but powered down as ordered. Chen nodded. The Prometheus wasn't just a warship. It was humanity's statement to the galaxy. Every system incorporated technology that the Council thought impossible for primitive humans to achieve. The quantum shields alone had required rewriting several laws of physics that the Council considered immutable. Open channel to Admiral Santos, Chen ordered. The Admiral's face appeared on the main screen, a slight smile playing at her lips. Right on schedule, Captain Chen. The Council fleet's reactions. They appear to be having difficulty processing our existence. Admiral, several of their ships are exhibiting signs of panic in their power signatures. Understandable, Santos replied. You're broadcasting the full sensor package. Yes, Mom. They're getting detailed reds on everything except the core systems. Just as planned. The Prometheus had been designed not just as a warship, but as a psychological weapon. Every visible system was carefully crafted to demonstrate just how completely the Council had underestimated human capability. The ship's very existence shattered their carefully maintained worldview about technological development. On the Council flagship, Xerax was receiving increasingly panicked reports. The human vessel violated dozens of Council engineering principles. Its power output alone suggested technology that should have been centuries beyond Earth's reach. Sir, his science officer reported, voice shaking. Their hull. It's incorporating materials we've theorized but never successfully created. The energy readings suggest they've mastered zero-point energy extraction. That's level 8 technology. They should be barely at level 3. Xerax felt his crystalline form vibrating with stress. The Council's entire assumption about human technological capability had been based on their visible space program and energy signatures from Earth. Now it appeared the humans had been deliberately hiding their true advancement. Commander, a new voice broke in. Admiral Santos, I believe now would be a good time to discuss the withdrawal of your quarantine fleet. You deceived the Council. Xerax accused. Hid your true capabilities. Did we? Santos asked mildly. Or did the Council simply see what it expected to see? Your civilizations have followed the same careful, plodding path to the stars for millennia. You assumed we must do the same. The Prometheus hung in space like a dark star, its presence a silent rebuke to Council arrogance. Chen watched as the Council ships began subtle repositioning movements, trying to maintain their enforcement formation while gradually increasing their distance from her ship. Your vessel, Xerax said stiffly, violates numerous Council technological protocols. The quarantine is now even more necessary. Commander, Chen broke in, speaking for the first time. The Prometheus is not here to fight. It is here to demonstrate. You see one ship. Imagine what else we might have chosen not to show you. The implied threat hung in space between the fleets. The Council ships had come expecting to enforce their will on primitives. Now they faced a civilization that had not only matched but exceeded their capabilities in several areas. Admiral Santos, Kazurak said finally, his tone carefully neutral. Perhaps we should discuss this situation further. A wise choice, Commander, Santos replied. And while we talk, I suggest you consider something. If humanity can achieve this much while isolated and alone, imagine what we could accomplish as allies. The Council fleet began powering down their weapons. The first battle between humanity and the Council had been won without a shot fired. But as Chen watched the Council ships carefully maneuver away from the Prometheus, she knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge would be convincing the Council that humanity's advancement wasn't a threat, but an opportunity. The Prometheus wasn't just a display of power. It was humanity's key to reshaping the galaxy's future. The diplomatic tension between the human and Council fleets lasted exactly 6 hours before it all went wrong. Captain Chen was reviewing power distribution reports when the alert came. Multiple FTL signatures, her tactical officer shouted. New Council vessels entering the system. These ones are warships, Captain. Chen's hands tightened on her command chair. The first Council fleet, the Enforcement Fleet, had been withdrawing under Admiral Santos' watchful eye. But it seems some Council members had decided to force the issue. 37 warships, Tactical continued. Dreadnought class. Energy signatures match the Proximan Empire's elite fleet. They're charging weapons. The Proximans, one of the oldest and most militant Council races, of course they wouldn't accept humanity's show of force quietly. On the main screen, the new fleet emerged from FTL near Jupiter's orbit, their crystalline hulls gleaming with weapon energy. All hands, battle stations, Chen ordered calmly. Get me Admiral Santos. The Admiral's face appeared on the command screen, her expression grim. I see them, Captain. The Proximan High Command apparently decided to take matters into their own hands. They're broadcasting demands for our immediate surrender and submission to Council authority. The Enforcement Fleet, withdrawing at maximum speed. Commander Ixirax is practically apologetic, claims he had no knowledge of this. Santos' eyes hardened. Your orders are simple, Captain. Show them why picking a fight with humanity was their last mistake. The Proximan fleet moved with precision, spreading out in a classic attack formation. Their commander's voice boomed across all frequencies. Primitive species will submit to Council authority or face extinction. You have 5 minutes to power down all vessels. Chen shared a look with her XO. Time to show them what the Prometheus can really do. Bring all systems to full power. Deploy the drone swarm. The massive ship's hull began to shift and change. Sections that had appeared decorative split apart, revealing launch bays. Thousands of autonomous combat drones poured forth, their quantum-linked AI cores coordinating their movements into complex battle formations. Interesting, the Proximan commander's voice came again, tinged with what might have been concern. Your automation technology is impressive, but machines cannot match our experience. Sir, the Proximan fleet's sensor officer reported, the human drones, their energy signatures are evolving. The drone swarm was demonstrating another human innovation, adaptive quantum computing. Each drone learned and adjusted its tactics in real time, sharing data across the quantum network. The Proximan fleet's standard combat algorithms were being analyzed and countered before they could even be fully implemented. All ships, open fire, the Proximan commander ordered. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes lashed out across space. The Prometheus's quantum shields flared into visibility, absorbing the assault without strain. The drone swarm split and reformed, evading damage while moving into attack positions. But Chen wasn't done revealing humanity's advances. "Deploy the gravity lance," she ordered. Near the Prometheus's bow, space itself seemed to twist. The ship's main weapon, developed from humanity's research into gravity manipulation, fired. Not a beam or projectile, but a focused distortion in space-time itself. 3 Proximan dreadnoughts caught in the effect found their carefully calculated shield harmonics meant nothing against a weapon that bypassed normal space. Their crystalline hulls cracked and shattered as localized gravity fields tore them apart. Impossible. The Proximan commander's voice shook. No Level 3 civilization could develop such weapons. "That's your mistake," Chen replied calmly. "You keep thinking you know what we can and cannot do. Humanity doesn't accept artificial limits." The battle devolved into chaos, but a carefully controlled chaos, at least on the human side. The Prometheus's drone swarm demonstrated combat tactics that evolved faster than the Proximans could adapt. The gravity lance picked off ships that tried to concentrate their fire on the Earth vessel. Within 30 minutes, it was over. The mighty Proximan fleet was reduced to scattered debris and damaged vessels. The Prometheus hung in space, its quantum shield still at 82% power, surrounded by its virtually untouched drone swarm. Message from Admiral Santos. Communications reported. "The Council is requesting an immediate emergency session. Several member races are already denouncing the Proximan attack as unauthorized and illegal." Chen nodded. The battle had served its purpose, demonstrating not just humanity's technological capability, but their tactical superiority. The Proximans had fought exactly as their centuries of doctrine dictated. Humanity had shown them why doctrine meant nothing against innovation. "Send to Admiral Santos," Chen ordered. "The Prometheus stands ready to assist in recovery operations for any damaged Proximan vessels. Let's show them that humanity knows how to be gracious in victory." The Battle of Jupiter would go down in galactic history as the day everything changed. But as Chen watched her crews organizing rescue operations for their defeated opponents, she knew the real victories wouldn't be won through force of arms. Humanity had proved they couldn't be ignored. Now came the harder task, proving they could be trusted. The Council's emergency session chamber was silent as Admiral Santos finished presenting the evidence. The holographic displays showed a damning trail of corruption and conspiracy. Private communications between certain council members and weapons manufacturers, secret meetings planning the Proximan attack, and most damaging of all, deliberate suppression of reports supporting humanity's advancement. "As you can see," Santos concluded, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber, "the quarantine vote was orchestrated by a select few who stood to profit from isolating Earth. They feared our technological advancement would disrupt their carefully controlled monopolies." The chamber erupted in overlapping voices. Several council races were demanding immediate investigations of their representatives. Others were calling for a complete review of all recent quarantine orders. The carefully maintained order of millennia was cracking. Ambassador Sarah Chen, standing beside Santos, watched the chaos with careful attention. The aftermath of the Jupiter battle had given Earth's intelligence services the opening they needed to expose the corruption at the Council's heart. The Prometheus's demonstration of human capability had only been step one. "Order." High Counselor Sarl's voice boomed through the chamber. The ancient Andromedian's form shimmed with barely contained energy. "These allegations are most serious. Ambassador Chen, your species has proven itself more capable than we assumed. But these accusations are supported by data recovered from Proximan ship computers," Chen interrupted smoothly. "Data they were too arrogant to purge before attacking. We've provided full access to our analysis methods. Any council race may verify our findings independently." That had been Admiral Santos's masterstroke. Rather than simply presenting evidence, Earth had shown unprecedented transparency in how they obtained and processed it. It made the findings virtually impossible to dismiss. The Proximans acted without council authority, protested one representative, his crystalline form flickering with agitation. "They cannot be considered." They acted with the explicit support of 12 council members. Santos cut in. She triggered a new holographic display, showing encrypted communications. Members who have been systematically suppressing emerging civilizations that might threaten their economic interests. More shockwaves through the chamber. Chen noticed several representatives quietly accessing their private communications devices, likely warning their governments of the coming political storm. And yet, Chen said into the growing chaos, "We are not here seeking punishment." That got their attention. The chamber quieted as she continued. Earth could demand sanctions. We could insist on reparations. Instead, we propose reform. The Council's founding principle was to guide and support developing civilizations. Somewhere along the way, that became controlling and suppressing them instead. She gestured, and a new hologram appeared. Technical specifications for some of humanity's recent innovations. We offer partnership. Earth's aggressive innovation, combined with the Council's experience and resources. Instead of fearing change, embrace it. Let us show you how humanity's approach to problems can benefit everyone. The chamber was silent as the implications sank in. Earth wasn't demanding revenge. They were offering cooperation, but on new terms, ones that would fundamentally change how the Council operated. From her position near the back of the chamber, Admiral Santos watched with pride as Chen continued outlining Earth's proposal. The Prometheus had shown humanity's strength. Now Chen was showing their wisdom. We propose a new division within the Council, Chen explained. One focused on accelerating technological and social development across all member races. No more artificial restrictions. No more suppression of innovation. Together, we can achieve things none of us could manage alone. And if we refuse, one of the implicated council members asked, their tone hostile, then Earth will continue to advance on its own. Santos replied calmly, and other races will notice. How long do you think you can maintain control when the galaxy sees what's possible without your restrictions? The threat was subtle but clear. Earth wouldn't need to fight. Simply by existing and advancing, they would inspire others to question the Council's authority. I move we vote on the human proposal, High Councillor Xarl announced suddenly. But first, those council members implicated in the evidence must recuse themselves. The chamber erupted again, but the momentum had shifted. Chen caught Santos' eye and nodded slightly. They had achieved their goal, not just avoiding quarantine, but catalyzing change throughout the galaxy. The Council would never be the same, and that had been humanity's plan all along. 1 year after the Battle of Jupiter, the Galactic Council chamber looked very different. The ancient circular tiers remained, but now they were filled with representatives from dozens of newly recognized civilizations. Species that had been deemed too primitive or too aggressive now sat alongside the traditional powers. Admiral Santos stood at the podium, completing her address on the first year of the Council's reformation. Behind her, a massive hologram showed the progress. Technological breakthroughs from combining different species approaches, flourishing trade relationships, and most importantly, a galaxy beginning to embrace change rather than fear it. The numbers speak for themselves, Santos concluded. Cross-species innovation is up 800%. Economic growth across all member worlds has doubled. And perhaps most significantly, we haven't had a single interspecies conflict in the past year. Captain Chen, now Earth's permanent representative to the Council, watched from her seat with satisfaction. The Prometheus, once seen as a symbol of human military might, had been transformed into a mobile research and diplomatic station. Its drone swarm now assisted with everything from space rescue operations to scientific surveys. We move to the next item, High Councillor Xarl announced. The petition from the Proximan Empire. The chamber quieted as the Proximan representative approached the podium. Their crystalline form, once proud and rigid, now showed signs of adaptation, organic-looking modifications that would have been unthinkable a year ago. We formally request permission to adopt the human education model, the Proximan announced. Our young ones should be taught to question, to innovate, to challenge assumptions. The old ways of rote learning and rigid doctrine must end. Chen remembered the battle, how the Proximans had fought according to centuries-old tactics. Now they were among the strongest advocates for change. Their defeat had become a catalyst for their evolution. The motion is approved, Xarl declared after a brief vote. Ambassador Chen, your species will oversee the implementation. As Chen acknowledged the request, she noted how many other representatives were already queuing to speak. Some wanted to discuss joint research projects. Others had proposals for cultural exchange programs. The fear of human unpredictability had been replaced by eager anticipation of what new perspectives might emerge. Final item. Xarl announced the results from the Arcturus initiative. The hologram shifted to show a massive construction project, a joint human council venture combining multiple species technologies. The first true galactic cooperative achievement. The prototype was successful, the project leader reported. By combining human gravitational theory with Andromedian energy manipulation and Proximan crystalline engineering, we've created something entirely new. The first artificial wormhole will be operational within the month. Santos smiled. A year ago, such cooperation would have been unthinkable. The Council had insisted on keeping species separate, advancing along predetermined paths. Now the boundaries between civilizations were blurring, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. This is what we hoped for, she said quietly to Chen as the session concluded. Not domination, not revenge, but true partnership. Chen nodded, watching the representatives mingling freely as they left the chamber. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't our technology or our warships, she replied. It was our ability to imagine a different way. We showed them that change doesn't have to be feared. As they walked out of the chamber, both women passed the newly installed plaque that summarized the Council's reformed mission. Unity through diversity, progress through innovation, strength through cooperation. The galaxy was entering a new age. Humanity had sparked the change, but every species would help shape what came next. The future was no longer predetermined. It was, at last, truly infinite in its possibilities. Outside the council chamber, the Prometheus hung in orbit, its dark hull now adorned with symbols from dozens of member races. Once a weapon of last resort, now a symbol of unity. Just as humanity had hoped, they hadn't just joined galactic civilization. They had helped it evolve into something better. The stars beckoned, and for the first time in galactic history, all species were truly free to answer the call together.